guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be talking about exactly what happened when I went over to take my practical exam for the state of Michigan. So if you're from Michigan, this will apply. If you are in another state, then you want to check your own rules and regulations. But pretty much the test is administered through the organization called PSI. So a lot of it is going to be across the board all the same. So please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, the subscribe button should be either here or here, wherever it is. Subscribe to my channel and let's jump right into the video. Okay, so I graduated from Aveda, and at Aveda, just like any other cosmetology school, you do have to run through state board a couple of times. So when you run through state board, they'll talk about exactly how your bag should be set up and then exactly what it consists of. And I cannot stress enough for you to pay attention to that, because I know at Aveda you run through it about 3 or 4 times, and by the time you run through it, when you get to state board, you will pretty much be kind of nervous, but not as nervous. So if the school that you go to, when they offer that, just make sure you take good notes, pay attention, have your packet, and you should have no problem for the practical portion. One of the things I would stress to you when you're getting your bag ready is to make sure when you label things that you use like either gray or white duct tape plus a Sharpie, so you can put exactly what procedure you're doing. And then when you put it in your bag, just make sure everything goes in order, because it's a time test. They give you like 2 minutes for the setup between each service. So you don't want to waste that trying to look for what you need. So if you just have everything in order, when you're doing your 2-minute setup, boom, you can just pull it out and then they can look at it. Also, a good tip is to make sure that you have extra supplies, meaning they're going to give you a list. And like I said, this just applies for Michigan, but it pretty much is going to be across the board. They're going to give you a list of what you should have in each bag for each service. So one of the things I did was, like, if it said 1 pair of gloves, I put like another pair, or if it was for a waving service and I felt like I was going to mess something up, then I put, like, instead of 5 gray rods, I put in there 10 gray rods. So as long as you have the basics, and like I said, you can check your specific state, you can have extra just as long as it's in the pre-sanitized bag or in the sanitized bag that you use to perform the service. So for the practical portion for the state of Michigan, what I learned at Aveda was to label everything. They look a lot at your sanitation, how clean you are, in addition to your techniques and how you follow that as far as client safety and sanitation of the area that you're working in. So I did include a couple of pictures that show you exactly what my setup looked like. The bag that I got that at Walmart, and I want to say I didn't pay over $30 for that, but it does have the width or the size that you need to fit everything. And then also there's a compartment at the bottom that zips, so you can use that to put your stand in, because you will have to have a stand for state board unless the location that you go to, you know, has something for you to attach your mannequin to. And then it also fit my mannequin, so everything fit in there nice and neat.
So this is the bag that I use for my practical exam, and this is the regulation size that the bag should be, which is 30 by 30. And I got this bag from Walmart, and on the top I labeled it pre-sanitized kit, and then the 2 sides do say trash, and I just used duct tape and a Sharpie for that. And that is what is required for the state of Michigan. Then one of the nice things I like about this is right there is a bottom part that does zip, so that's real good. You can use that to put your mannequin stand so you don't have to hold it, so that's a very nice feature. And then also this does roll, just so you know, there's a handle and it does roll, which is really nice. And then the front part there, you can stick your ID, a pen. I didn't use or take a cell phone, but you can put that in there as well. And there, the bag is by Coleman. Now, opening up the bag, my first thing I would advise is, like I said, put everything in order. So it will be easy for you to find it in your 2-minute setup because everything is timed. Then as you can see, I use gallon size Ziploc bags and I have them properly labeled as according to the state of Michigan regulations. And then this is just give an example of the different services that I had to perform and how everything was labeled. And if you do it right, you can get everything into a gallon size. I do have extra large bags, which are the blue Ziploc bags, as you can see there. And for those, I use like my blow drying kit, or when I had to do the blow dry service, those bags did accommodate my blow dryer, my curling iron. They're extremely large bags, and I would definitely recommend those. And here is an example of the extra large bag that I use for the blow dry service, or this could be the chemical service. Oh no, it's the chemical service, but still it's an extremely large bag and it can hold everything that is required. So just continuing to go through the bag and just kind of giving you an idea of what mines look like. I compiled this whole bag myself and it did cost me about 150, maybe 175 in addition extra as far as what I paid in tuition. So if your school doesn't provide that or give you the ability to rent the state board kit, then you will have to assemble it on your own. Word of advice, you may want to get with other members of your class so you guys can kind of collaborate together and buy the things that they tell you you need. Sometimes that will be cheaper, and then everybody can have the correct supplies that they need for the state board. And this is an example of how my blow dryer and curling iron fit into the extra large bag. Those bags are extremely huge and they stand up on their own. They are amazing. And then as you can see, everything fit into the bag nice and neat. Like I said, check your state to see exactly what size bag you have to have. And then here is the mannequin stand that I used, and we had this mannequin stand at Aveda, so I just used that. I put my name on it just in case it got misplaced, so that's something you can do with the metallic Sharpie. And here is the mannequin that I used. You want to make sure you do not take a mannequin that's super short because of the cut that you have to perform. You don't want to get marked down for points just because your mannequin is too short, because you will be performing a cut with razor and shears for the state of Michigan. And then also for the manicure service, I used a mannequin hand that I had from a while ago, and then I put the tips on it, as you can see. And this is after I performed the service, but you only have to have the ring finger polish. You don't have to have all of them polished for the state of Michigan.
So the next thing I want to talk about is your actual mannequin. When you go, this was the mannequin I used, and as you can see, she hasn't been cut that much. So you're gonna have to have a certain amount that you have to cut from your mannequin, and you're going to be using a razor and shears. So you're going to make the initial guideline with the razor, and then the rest of the cut we had to do a 90-degree angle cut, and it was like a layer cut. So just be mindful of the mannequin that you use for that. You want to make sure it's not a mannequin that you cut super, super short, because depending on where you're at, you have to cut so much. When they come around to check, I do believe I was not facing her, so I couldn't see it, but they're checking for balance just to make sure you pretty much can follow directions of what they said of how the mannequin has to be cut. And like I said, I did have extra of everything. And also, I will link below a great YouTube channel that I found. And on this YouTube channel, they had like over 40 different videos for like, they have the practical, they cover the theory. Now, granted, it's in another state, but still I watched that consistently for like almost 2 weeks. And then I was able to go into the practical and just ace that because I passed the first time. So the next thing I want to show you is, like I said, about how your bag should be set up. And then, like I said, for each state is different. So just make sure you check the rules and regulations for when you get ready to take your practical. But what we had to do, one of the things we used were these bags that are just regular Ziploc bags. And this is a, can't remember what size it is, but you have to have the bag set up like this, and this is for the state of Michigan. So you would have like whatever the service is, and for this one was my pre-sanitized setup and disinfection. So this was the first one I used when I walked into the practical, and then on the back it has trash, so it doubles as your trash bag. They have to be able to see everything, and also in addition to labeling the bag, and it is tedious. If you're in a place where you can buy this whole kit, I would say buy it, because by the time you do the work, put everything together, you're going to spend, I spent close to maybe $125, $175. That was in addition to my regular tuition. It wasn't included. But if you can find where you can buy that, I would highly suggest it, because it will be beneficial to you and it can save you like an hour or two, if not longer. But the actual whatever goes into your bags, your pre-sanitized bags, they have to be labeled. So this is like an example of like the alcohol. So you would use like your duct tape, and then you would put on there exactly what it is. And when you get there, as part of your 2 minute in the beginning for setting up, they're going to look at that. If you have something that's not labeled, you will get points deducted off. Now, I didn't have any of that issue because I labeled everything that I could possibly think of, because that's just the way I was taught. So I didn't have that issue, but just remember, if you don't have something labeled or it's not put in the bag right, according to the rules and regulations for your state, that you will be marked down. Now, for the manicure portion, in the state of Michigan, we did not have to, or we don't have to do like the nail tips or extensions or anything like that. We don't have to do that. We just pretty much do a basic manicure. So this was the manicure hand that I used for mine. And she's polished. I haven't taken the polish off since I passed it. But you have to have the ring finger polished only. So with the tips, you're going to have just the tips on. And at Aveda, they told us to turn them like upside down. So we had a free edge, and then I cut them. So I had enough free edge. And then I polished just the ring finger. So that's what happened for the state of Michigan. And then you go in, and it's, like I said, it's a very basic manicure. You take the polish off, and I would caution you, when you're taking the polish off, do not sit there and hold that cotton directly on the nails for too long, because these nails will melt very, very quickly. What you want to do is get your your nail polish remover on the cotton ball, and as you're holding it, just lightly wipe. and the polish will come off, so you don't have to get nervous and think maybe the polish won't come off. It will. So like I said, you'll go in, all these will be clear, no polish. You'll have the tips on, and just the ring finger will be polished. When you get into the manicure portion, you'll perform a basic manicure. So when you go to take your practical, like I said before, everything is time. You have 2 minutes for the setup, and then for each additional service, it's a certain amount of time. So my best advice to you would be, like I said, I'll link the videos that I watched. If you go through and not try to cram everything in and give yourself some time, if you go through those videos, look over the packet that they give you for your state, there's actually no way to me you could possibly like not pass that, because the videos that I'm going to link to are really a way for you to be able to sit down and go through the whole exam. So when you get there, the time portion, you pretty much would breeze through it. I didn't have any issues about finishing everything within the time frame, even with the haircut, because I'd like to cut hair, but in school I was not the fastest at it. But when it came time to do the state board, I was finished. I want to say I had maybe 6 minutes to spare, which is good because I don't like using a razor. I can use my shears all day long, but I don't like using a razor. So just be mindful of that. If you practiced before, then the time portion won't just make you so nervous. So one of the things I thought was odd, and like I said, your situation or your state may be different. I'm going to tell you some things that she told us that you want to be mindful of. The first one is, don't look at anybody else. They consider that cheating, and they will put you out on the spot. So the little $200 or however much money you paid, it'll just be a waste. She made that clear from the beginning. Do not look at anybody. Keep your eyes on your own work. So when I was finished, like I didn't look at anybody. I just looked at my shoes, or I counted the towel, because they will put you out for doing that. They won't ask you why you were looking at anybody else. She was like, we'll just put you out, and you'll get a written notice as far as why we put you out and that you didn't pass this, and then you have to pay all over again. So if you want to waste money, I don't know what to tell you, but just don't look at anybody else. Also, I don't know whether it was just her, but they're not the loudest speaking people. So from where I was standing from where I was sitting to where she was, you really have to hear, because if you don't, you'll miss like when she says start, or how many minutes you have, or what service you're doing. So just make sure you are paying attention and you have your listening ears on, because it's a little bitty room in here in Michigan. I don't know, your situation may be huge or whatever, but I could barely hear her. So you do have to be mindful of that. Let's see what else. They will, and I was prepared but not prepared. When it came time for me to do the blow dry and the thermal portion, she literally stood behind me and watched me. Meaning she looked at my hand position, she looked at where my comb was, if I was protecting the client, she looked to see if I washed my hands, if I sanitized. So just be mindful of that. They will come behind you. They're not like directly on you, but you'll know when they're looking at you. Then after you do your cut, like I said, they're going to be checking for balance. So if you're not a person that likes to cut or use razors and your shears, then just be prepared for that, because during that portion, she was like literally to my right, looking over my shoulder. Let's see what else. I think that's like the main things that I noticed that kind of stood out to me. But like I said, if you go over all this in your school and you guys have run through a state board, unless the teacher doesn't operate that way, my teacher, she did, it prepared me for what to expect. Alright guys, thanks for watching my video. I will be sure to put links to all the resources that I used
in order to pass my practical exam on my first try. And that's it. Thanks for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Oh, and thank you guys so much that have already subscribed and continue to support me on YouTube. I so appreciate it. But if you have not, please hit that subscribe button so you can get notifications of my new videos that I post. And if you want, be sure to follow me on my social media. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Have a great day. Bye.